All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to Lieutenant Governor Hashmi, Attorney General Jones, Chair Ward, and all of our speakers here today for making the time this morning. My name is Katie Baker, and I am here on behalf of the Virginia Public Sector Labor Coalition. That comprises Virginia AFL-CIO, AFSCME, the American Federation of Teachers, and the American Association of University Professors, the Communications Workers of America, which also represents the United Campus Workers of Virginia, SEU Virginia 512, Virginia Education Association, Virginia Professional Firefighters, Unite Here, and the United Food and Commercial Workers Local 400. So just thank you all for being here today as we have this very important conversation. We are here today because we're very excited to be on the verge of passing historic legislation that will extend the freedom to collectively bargain to more than 500,000 Virginia public service workers. That includes our teachers, our firefighters, our state workers. However, we're here to make sure that no workers are left behind. Our home care workers are currently not in the Senate bill. Our campus workers, our higher ed workers, faculty, graduate workers, and staff, as well as hospital employees, are currently not in the House bill. We still have time. We want to make sure when those bills come together, nobody's left behind. And so just very grateful today to be joined by so many people who are supporting these workers in our efforts. And it is my honor to introduce someone who's been a true champion of labor for a long time and who I had the pleasure of listening to at my alma mater, William & Mary, this past weekend. We did a campus town hall to talk about the importance of collective bargaining rights for our higher ed workers, and that's Lieutenant Governor Ghazala Hashmi.
Thank you so much, Katie, and thank you to everyone who's here joining us. I want to thank the Virginia Sector Labor Coalition, Public Sector Labor Coalition, for inviting me here today and for giving me the opportunity to speak at this very critical conversation about collective bargaining. This is so very important that we get the message across. When we talk about union for all, we mean unions for all. So Virginia's public college system, as we know, is among the best in the nation, and that is thanks to the dedicated workers who are the foundation at each and every institution. Faculty, whether they're tenured or non-tenured, full-time staff, adjunct faculty, dining hall staff, custodial staff, our graduate assistants, all of these folks work so hard every day to ensure that our students are prepared to take the leadership roles that they will be taking as they graduate. And that's why I'm so proud to stand alongside each and every one of you and alongside our essential home care workers as well in fighting for a collective bargaining bill that leaves nobody behind. All of Virginia's public sector workers deserve the freedom to come together and bargain for fair wages, worker protections, and meaningful acknowledgement about the value of the work that they do. And as a former college professor myself in the community college system, I know what it's like to teach a heavy 5-5 course load. As a former adjunct professor, I know what it's like to teach multiple classes at different institutions just to cobble together a slim salary. And as a woman who faced a challenging and risky pregnancy, I know what it's like to be placed on bed rest as an untenured faculty member and then consequentially lose both my salary and my benefits at the most critical period in my life. So my experiences in the classroom began well over 30 years ago, but sadly, we've seen actually very little movement forward over those 3 decades. In fact, we've seen our conditions deteriorate and worsen for college workers at every level, adding to economic hardships as we face an escalating assault by Donald Trump and his billionaire cronies and Republicans in Washington who are charging directly at our institutions of higher education. And sadly, we are seeing many attacks on universities and the people who work in them here in Virginia. Donald Trump and our former governor, Glenn Youngkin, ensured that he put into place hyper-political boards of visitors. These boards of visitors fired UVA President Jim Ryan. They attempted to do the same to GMU's president, Gregory Washington. And thanks to collective action, including from the very workers who are being excluded from the House bill, we were able to save President Washington's position. I know this morning we're also going to hear from the individuals who lost their job at Virginia State University. And it's important that we hear the message that they are going to be delivering. This is a critical message about why it's so important that tenured faculty also have the critical access to workplace protections that come from negotiating a contract collectively. So collective bargaining is about empowering workers to fight for living wages, fight for compensation. It's also about ensuring that they have the support and the processes in place to continue to deliver the high-quality services that we rely on. So whether you are an adjunct professor teaching our college students, a food service worker providing meals for thousands of people a day, or a home care provider ensuring that we have essential care for those who cannot take care of themselves, please know I'm in this fight with you because I've seen firsthand how important the work is that you do. And just as all public sector unions are standing in solidarity with you today, I join them in standing in solidarity with you also. I've walked in your shoes. I've walked in your shoes. I know how valuable this work is, and that's why I'm going to continue to fight to make sure that Virginia is one of the best states for working people in the country, and that work starts with including all workers in collective bargaining legislation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. And as I was introducing you, I realized that was the first time I got to introduce you as Lieutenant Governor. So that was very special to me. And this is the first time I get to introduce Attorney General Jay Jones, who has also been a great champion.
Well, good morning, and thank you all for being here today. I am proud to stand before you as the 49th Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the first black person to hold this role. But some of you in this room also know I'm another first. I am the first member of a labor union to be the Attorney General here in Virginia. When I was an Assistant Attorney General in the District of Columbia, I was a member of AFGE Local 1403, and I got the benefits that union membership provided us, including extended paternity leave. So this is personal for me. And it's also personal for me because I stand before you, the product of a union family. My grandfather died early in his life. My grandmother was a homemaker. She had to go back to work. She became a teacher and joined the teachers union and raised 3 boys on a teacher's salary because union membership brings positive change here in Virginia. But I would also like to especially acknowledge the home care workers here in this room today and applaud your work for what you do. I am very passionate about this issue in particular because of the impact that it's had on my family. And my grandmother, in her life, late in life, she relied on home care workers to make sure that she was able to have the care that she needed to live a long and sustainable life. Those folks became part of my family, so much so that they knocked on doors in my first campaign, but also were in her obituary. The value of the work that they do cannot be measured. It is immeasurable. Thank you for what you do. You leave a tremendous impact on families all across Virginia, from our teachers to our brave firefighters, home care workers and campus workers. Everybody deserves a seat at the table. All Virginia workers deserve the ability to join a union. All Virginia workers deserve the ability to join a union and to collectively bargain for better working conditions, wages, and benefits. And that is why I'm working with the General Assembly to secure funding to reestablish the Worker Protection Unit within the Public Advocacy Division in my office. This unit will safeguard Virginia employees and ensure compliance with our labor and civil rights laws in Virginia. For far too long, wage theft, worker misclassification, unsafe working conditions, and discriminatory practices have hurt workers here in this Commonwealth, and they've been undercut by law-abiding employers. Everyone deserves fair treatment. In the workplace, people deserve protection, and then we have to level the playing field for compliant businesses. And as, again, the first Attorney General who's a member of a labor union, I will never, ever stop fighting for our workers. That's why I'm proud to stand here today alongside so many people who believe in this cause. We have the ability to get this over the finish line. One last push, one final push. Know that you've got a partner and an ally in the Attorney General's office, the Barbara Johns building. We stand ready to work with you every single step of the way. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your passion. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you all for what you do. We've got your back. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Attorney General Jones. And I know he and Lieutenant Governor Hashmi have a busy schedule as statewide officials, so we just really do appreciate their time and their support. I also wanted to acknowledge, I saw Delegate Elizabeth Guzman walk in the room. Delegate Guzman was our champion in the House in 2020 of this bill. The bill we ended up getting out of the Senate and signed by the governor was historic in itself, in that it lifted Virginia's blanket ban on collective bargaining, and I believe more than 80,000 local employees of local governments and school boards now have the ability to collectively bargain for contracts because of that. All right. And next, I'm going to introduce one of the professors Lieutenant Governor Hashmi mentioned in her remarks from Virginia State, who was fired without any sort of due process, and that is Dr. Vitalis Timu. Doctor.
Thank you, madam. Yeah, Dr. Vitalis Timu, professor of small ruminant and forage ecology at Virginia State. And I'm here on behalf of my fellow professors, Dr. Badwaj, 34 years of service at Virginia State University, including teaching the current research director, Dr. Tagavi, Dr. Kerin, and we have Dr. Yusuf, and one more, Dr. Mengisti could not make it today. So we are here because we want to make it crystal clear that university professors or faculty need to belong with collective bargaining. Yeah. I mean, we are a nightmare. I mean, ours is a nightmare, testimony of what it is when you don't have one. On December 12th, after all that, I mean, we have been excellent in what we are supposed to do. All us, I mean, we have outstanding annual evaluation in our performance. You cannot get tenure, which comes in 5 years, if you didn't excel. So to earn tenure, it's a hard work. And you don't get tenured for being a malingera. And you cannot keep tenure. There is what you call post-tenure review. Even if after you are tenured, if you still don't outperform, you can still, be, laid off. And with post-tenure review. None of that happened to us. We have all been, excellent in what we are supposed to do. Ours is a land-granting university, which we belong to a research station that provide research-based solutions to problems affecting small and resource-limited producers. And these are the farmers, in Virginia, and in our case, we are trying to give them an opportunity. What can they take advantage of and be better? Yeah, my case, others, we belong to a small ruminant, research unit, which is looking at goats and sheep as something that a small producer can get by with. They cannot afford the cattle, which is higher. And luckily, U.S. has insatiable demand for goat meat. We are still importing from Australia and New Zealand in millions of dollars annually, monthly, and it is growing. But the U.S. Production has not been able to keep out that one. And now comes another interest in grass fed organic farming. So a farmer that can produce organically gets to earn even more. And now you have heard about tariff, trade tariff fight. And then there are security in terms of diseases, transboundary diseases. So importing, we can even end up importing diseases. We are dishing money out and getting what we wouldn't like. So the best way is to empower our farmers and keep the money in and raise their lives. And that's what we have been doing. And until December, we had currently, about 10 million, in research funds. In my program alone, I had 1.5 million to support, goat farmers to be able to adopt sustainable agricultural practices. And this one, it was firstly climate smart, and then they said it has to be advancing market for producers. We have done all that. We have enrolled the farmers, and come December 12, we asked, come to a meeting on December 16 to discuss transformational efforts, how to do it better. That's what we are told. On 16th, we go to the meeting to find the dean, the director, and the human resource, and saying, we are sunsetting your program, and now, not even today, now is your last minute of work. And from there, you are given a bunch of papers. You sign here. We are buying back your the rest of the year in salary. If you don't sign now, you cannot even take a copy, and that offer goes off the table. It didn't matter how you tried to talk. Okay, now you will go with the research director, and the police officer will give an escort to the office, turn in your keys, turn in your computer, turn in your lab, and sign no trespass warning. If you are seen on campus without a prior authorization of the research director and with a police escort, you will be arrested. So that happened to us. We all went to work, like we always do. And in less than 30 minutes, all that was over. Until today, I don't have, whatever I had in my office personal, it is still locked there. I only could live with my car, and I lost my email within 10 minutes. They had deactivated my email. Our storage is usual on campus servers, so any professional, whatever, it's all gone. And the cost to the taxpayer, the projects that we were supervising, which have now been trashed. And then our programs, we have spent millions to build the capacity. All that is gone. So collective bargaining is the way to go. Yes. Because
Thank you so much, Dr. Timu, for sharing your story, and for all of the fired 6 professors. If you want to raise your hands if you're here today, our professors. And we're proud to be fighting for collective bargaining for all higher ed workers, including our tenured faculty, because that, I think, is really testament to why you all need it. And next, we will have, one thing I also wanted to make sure was clear, that in the House bill, which took out higher ed, that also includes employees of those state-run hospitals run by universities, so like VCU Health, UVA Health. So we're going to have someone who's about to be a resident speak to the importance of collective bargaining for our hospital workers, and that is Jake Mikesell.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Sorry, one second. There we go. Wonderful. My name is Jake Mikesell, and I would like to thank the United Campus Workers for the opportunity to speak to you today. I am a fourth-year medical student, and in just a few days, my life for the next X number of years will be decided by an algorithm. Most people don't understand how the match process works, so I'm gonna run you guys through it real quick. It is a legally binding process where a computer algorithm will decide which residency program I go to. I will not get to negotiate my salary. I will not get to negotiate my benefits. I won't even get to negotiate my hours, which, if you know anything about residency, there's a lot of hours. I am forced to sign a contract with a program I did not choose. And when I am there, it is near impossible to leave without ending or seriously damaging the career that I have spent a decade building. We are a pillar of this community as residents, and it's time we started acting like it. Right now, we don't have anybody to protect us. As medical students and residents, we cannot work by independent contract. Our positions are tied to our institutions, which are largely funded by CMS, the Center for Medicaid Services, by your tax dollars. We are public service workers in every sense of the word, yet we are denied the basic right for us to advocate for ourselves. We can't advocate for the conditions that we work in. And the core idea of a union is not radical. It's logical. Better working conditions make for more effective, more focused, better workers. In medicine, that just doesn't mean a better life for me, although I'd like that. It means better care for my patients. When we are treated as a source of cheap labor rather than doctors in training, the entire healthcare system suffers. We are asking for inclusion in House Bill 1263 and Senate Bill 378 because we need the power to demand an education that prioritizes teaching us to be the best doctors possible for Virginians. If our requests for fair treatment and humane hours means that the health system has to hire more physicians to fill in the gaps, so be it. We cannot provide world-class healthcare, which is what Virginians deserve, on a foundation of exhaustion and exploitation. This isn't just about us, though. Healthcare is a team sport. It is about, and that includes the patients. This is about ensuring that every Virginian who walks into a hospital is treated by a doctor who is supported, educated, and empowered to do their job. When we win collective bargaining rights, our patients win. You win. We are all on the same team, whether that be house staff, whether that be home health aides, whether that be the EVS workers. We are all on the same team, and together we can build a healthcare system that truly cares for those who provide the care. I implore the General Assembly to send a bill to Her Excellency's desk that includes both healthcare workers and higher education workers, faculty, graduate, hospital workers, and staff to all be included. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jake, for those powerful remarks. And next, it's my honor to introduce somebody I've known for a very long time, who has really been a true champion of labor. She is the president of the Hampton Federation of Teachers and also the chair of the House Labor and Commerce Committee, Delegate Jeion Ward.
Good morning to everyone. It it is such an honor to be here. And yes, people know me as the chair of Labor and Commerce, and some of you even know that I am the most unapologetically pro-worker, pro-labor legislator. Some of you know, but I say it all the time, I was conceived in a labor bed. My daddy was union, my mama was union too. So the only thing they could reproduce is a little union bug. And that's who I am. And so it's an honor to be here with you. As said, I am president of the American Federation of Teachers Local 4260. So I talk to teachers all the time. And the one thing they talk most about is not about money, but they want to be heard. And that's exactly what collective bargaining is at its very core. It comes down to something that's simple. People want to be heard in any kind of relationship, in your families, in your workplaces, in the government. Communication matters. People want a seat at the table. They want to know that their voices are being heard. The individuals who are the closest to the job, the ones who deal with everything every single day, they are closest to understanding what is needed for improvement and what is working well. And ignoring that perspective does not strengthen your workplace or an organization. If you just ignore that, then it really weakens it. You're weak then. That's what collective bargaining is supposed to be. It's a structured, respectful process for having those discussions. That's all collective bargaining is. Some people act like collective bargaining is a dirty word. They don't even want to talk about it. But you know, I need to address something kind of plainly, because some individuals who openly signed a letter, it was some mayors, signed a letter collectively. They were bargaining because they wanted to have some of their pensions or their compensation increased. So they came to us in the General Assembly because they couldn't do it on their own. So they talked to us, they knocked doors, they came and talked to, just like you. Wanted to ask for increased compensation, and we approved it. So I'm not using it as a personal attack on them, because they had every right to do it. But you also have the right to do the same thing that they are doing. So yes, I am quite upset that they felt no problem with coming to us, and then they don't want you to go to them. Something's wrong with this picture. And you know, while I'm being kind of honest too, when we're talking about collective bargaining, we're talking about lobbying. We're talking about those little closed door meetings. We're talking about dinner and drinks over discussion. But you know, that's something that happens in this body all the time. So when some lobbyists, when some, I don't know, college presidents, I don't know, I'm just saying, and they want to keep their collective bargaining rights away from college campuses, but what they are doing is collectively bargaining us once again. Yeah, but that's unfair. And that's what we only want to do, is to be heard. We want to have discussions just like they're having discussions. That's all we are asking for. So what we have to do is the same thing they do. You rise up, you shout, you knock on doors, collectively let your voices be heard. And when we do that, we can make a difference. God bless you. I'm with you all the way. Thank you.
so much, Chair Ward. And your speech at the beginning reminded me, it's probably a couple years ago, one time you told me, when I go, I just want people to say she fought for the workers. And you have fought, and we need you here a long time to keep fighting with us. But we know where your heart is. And next, we're going to have a member of Unite Here and worker at Old Dominion University, Nelson Amos. Nelson. Woo!
I'm glad to be here. My name is Nelson Amos. I'm local 23. I worked for ODU for 40 years. So I just retired last September. Presently I work for Airmart. My wife, after I worked for ODU for 20 years, got a job at Walmart, interest job, and we were comparing our budget because we were trying to figure out, well, hey, we have a daughter, we got to pay our medical bills, we got to take care of our house, we bought a house, we used to rent, so we need to figure out what to do. So we're looking at our expenses, and we're looking at our income. Her money from Walmart was more money than I got from ODU. Now, most people think that because you work for the state, you get money. Now, everybody in here knows that ain't the reality. So I worked for another 20 years. I said, well, working 2 jobs, not seeing my family too much because you work 2 or 3 jobs like I did. You don't see them too much. So I retired. But I still need to work because I still got bills to pay. Fortunately, we have a union at Airmart. So it means that I know what salary I want to have. I can negotiate, not personally myself, but negotiate my union that, Without a union, you have no opportunity to say anything. Without a union, you're looking for the assembly to hopefully give you some raise. A 1% raise, a 2% raise, with all the other stuff that's going on, your medical bills are always going to go up. Your legal services, if you had the money to pay for it, will go up. Everything goes up. Most of the part of the time when the legislation is going to be voting, you're not guaranteed that you're going to get a raise. In so many years, most of y'all know this, you didn't get any. So that means you had 2 or 3 years, no in salary. And you're already under the minimum wage. That don't make no sense. I'm standing because my coworkers who I used to work with, I want them to have the right to have collective bargaining. I want them to be heard. We need collective bargaining for all Virginians because all Virginians count, not just some, but all Virginians. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelson, for sharing your story. And just so reporters and any other folks in the room understand, So universities that privately contract with companies to provide dining services, Aramark is one of those companies, those dining services workers can unionize and collectively bargain. So we've heard to the benefits of having a contract, for example, at ODU. But if you're directly employed by the university, you cannot. So that's what we're advocating for. And then did Caleb join us? Caleb Etcherly? All right.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me here today. My name is Caleb Echterling. I'm a proud member of SEIU Virginia 512. And I'm here today because what we're doing is both important and necessary. I'm a home care worker, and I provide full-time home care for my 16-year-old disabled son, James. I love caring for my son, and it's both a responsibility and my privilege, but it's also demanding around-the-clock work. James is nonverbal. It takes time for any non-family providers to learn his needs and learn what his cues are. And it also takes time for James to become comfortable with outside caregivers. And with the low wages and lack of benefits currently on offer, it makes it nearly impossible for us to find the long-term stable care that he needs. My family would prefer to hire outside home care workers so I could spend my time equally with both of my children. And right now I focus on James and just his needs, and I have another son who's, who gets ignored sometimes. But it's incredibly hard to find workers willing to do the job for the wages currently on offer. Better wages and benefits will lead to better stability in the industry, and that means better care for James and all the other clients receiving home care services. And this isn't just about workers, it's about making sure that families like mine can access the reliable care that we need for James. He will need care all of his life, and I can't do it much longer. I'm too old to keep doing this, and he's gonna need somebody else when I'm not around. When home care workers are paid fairly and have better working conditions, families like mine can actually find and keep the support we need. So that's why I'm asking our legislators to support public sector collective bargaining, because all workers, including home care workers and campus workers and all workers, deserve the right to a voice on the job. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caleb, for sharing your story. And next, we're just so excited to be introduced by so many advocates and partners today. It's my honor to introduce Reverend Cozy Bailey, who is the president of NAACP in Virginia. Reverend.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you all for the warm welcome. And good morning to you all.
Good morning.
I have some prepared remarks, but I need to tell you that my wife and I have a personal connection to this concept of labor unions and collective bargaining. From the earliest days when I was able to read, and I used to sneak into my parents' bedroom and I'd look on the dresser, and my father had a stack of letters from this organization called the AFL-CIO. And he explained that to me, what that meant, and that then provided a DNA, if you will, for understanding unions and collective bargaining. My wife has the same, similar story, but she also has the advantage of having a maiden name of Pullman. So I think that resonates with you all, and we're talking about Pullman Porters. The NAACP, from its very beginning in 1909, has had a close tie with collective bargaining and labor unions. A. Philip Randolph, a legendary leader, was one of those who partnered with us as we pushed forward for civil and human rights. The NAACP Virginia State Conference strongly supports the rights of Virginia's workers and their families to join unions and engage in collective bargaining. The fundamental freedom ensures that workers' voices are heard. we advocate for the passage of legislation that supports the concept of public service workers being able to participate in collective bargaining, because that allows public sector workers the advantages that they currently don't have. This legislation marks a significant step in dismantling remnants of slavery and Jim Crow laws that have historically marginalized people of color and women in the workplace. It's time to move beyond these outdated restrictions that hinder workers from improving their conditions and their livelihoods. Collective bargaining is essential for public service workers and leads to better outcomes for our communities. When teachers can negotiate for smaller class sizes, emergency responders for updated equipment, and nurses for improved staffing, we all benefit. Empowering workers through collective bargaining goes beyond rights. It serves as a route to justice and equality in our workplaces. The NAACP Virginia State Conference will continue its public policy to ensure the rights of all workers and union members in the Commonwealth, because workers' rights are human rights.
Thank you so much, Reverend Bailey, and just to build on something you said about the history. Back in the 1940s, Black workers at University of Virginia Hospital tried to organize, and the General Assembly passed a joint resolution in response, refusing to recognize those public sector unions. So it goes back to universities, and we're fighting for our higher ed folks and university workers again today, along with all higher ed employees and home care workers. And next, we'll have Jewel Gatling from the National Domestic Workers Alliance.
Good morning, good morning. My name is Jewel Gatlin. I am a Virginia Organizing Manager with National Domestic Workers Alliance and a proud member of CWA Local 1180. At the National Domestic Workers Alliance, we advocate for the respect, recognition, and rights of over 50,000 nannies, home care providers, and house cleaners right here in the Commonwealth. These workers keep Virginia going, which is why it is important that we ensure that home care workers are included in this bill and win the right to collective bargaining along with all public employees. Home care is a job-enabling job, allowing family members to go to work with peace of mind that their elderly loved one or child is safe at home and is being well cared for. There is a care crisis in Virginia, with many seniors and people with disabilities not having the in-home care they need. This is partly due to low wages and lack of benefits in the home care field that drive people out of the industry. Collective bargaining will change that. Despite their immense value to our society, care workers have gone unseen and unrecognized. As an organization, we know that the time is now to right the wrongs that home care providers have faced for generations. Domestic work has historically been undervalued, in large part due to the racism and misogyny faced by the women of color who make up the majority of our care force. Exclusionary laws that deliberately stay on the books as a way of reinforcing low wages, lack of benefits, and protection for our care providers. Virginia will boldly make a decision this session to either continue standing in the shadow of the destructive legacy of slavery and Jim Crow, or walk into the light by providing collective bargaining rights, livable wages, overtime for living domestic workers, and a work environment that supports the safety of those who care for our families, friends, and neighbors. We join our labor coalition partners in asking our legislators to bring us into the light. Vote for collective bargaining and include home care workers, include higher ed workers, and all public employees. For generations, we have taken care of each other. And today, we still continue to reimagine a future where we thrive and not just survive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jewel, for those powerful remarks. And next, we will have someone who's been a wonderful partner to our labor coalition, and that's Tram Nguyen from New Virginia Majority. Tram.
Good morning, friends. I'm so happy to be here with you all today. I will be brief because so much has already been said about the importance of getting collective bargaining in Virginia. For too long, working people across our Commonwealth have had limited power to negotiate their wages, benefits, and working conditions. As Katie mentioned earlier, 6 years ago, Virginia took a great first step in allowing a collective bargaining for public employees at the local level to make that permissive. But a lot of workers, as you all know, across Virginia do not have a seat at that table. When workers come together and they negotiate, they earn better wages, have safer workplaces, and more stable benefits. That stability strengthens families and builds stronger local economies. Expanding collective bargaining rights to all workers would promote fairness, reduce income inequality, and ensure that economic growth is shared more broadly. But this is about more than just wages in the economy. It's about dignity. As Chair Ward mentioned earlier, it's about making sure that people feel heard. It's about dignity. It's about respecting the essential contributions of teachers and education workers, home healthcare workers, service workers, construction workers, and countless others who keep Virginia running every day. New Virginia Majority is proud to stand with our labor sisters and brothers to support collective bargaining for all workers, and we urge the Virginia General Assembly to pass a collective bargaining bill that leaves no single worker behind.
Thank you so much for your support, Tram. And now we will have Tanya Milling, who is the Executive Director of the ARC of Virginia. Tanya.
Thank you for inviting me. I am Tanya Milling, Executive Director of the ARC of Virginia, representing our 21 local chapters and more than 400,000 Virginians with developmental disabilities. In 2011, after hearing from families and advocates with the ARC of Virginia, the U.S. Department of Justice found Virginia in violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the Commonwealth entered into a settlement agreement to build a robust community-based system. Nearly 15 years later, Virginia is still not in full compliance with that agreement and is now under a federal court order to finally make the promise of community real. Home care workers are the backbone of that promise. People with disabilities cannot live, work, and participate in their communities without the support of these workers, and I'm here to say thank you. They help make independence possible, support families, and ensure people can live the lives that they choose. If Virginia is serious about fulfilling its commitment to community living, we must value and support the home care workforce that makes it all possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tanya, for your remarks, for your support. I also saw a couple other partners in the room. TCI is here. Thank you for your support. I saw Don from IBEW. We really just appreciate all the solidarity across unions. Are there any other unions outside of the coalition here? I just didn't want to leave anybody out. But we've had tremendous support and solidarity. We had different unions we held 5 town halls. The last couple weekends on campuses across Virginia have had union members. ATU is out there supporting us, lots of other unions supporting us. So that has meant a lot for us. And I also just wanted to mention that tonight there is going to be a series of phone banks on campuses across Virginia of workers calling legislators and asking them to make sure that they are including both home care workers and all our higher ed workers, faculty, graduate workers, and staff in these bills. For folks interested, there's going to be one at Williamsburg Library in Williamsburg from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. There'll be one at the Springfield Suites, which is associated with Old Dominion, from 2 to 6. And there'll be one for George Mason in Horizon Hall at the Fairfax campus from 2 to 4. We also have a link for folks who are interested to a statewide virtual phone bank for folks who can't attend any of those in person. And I know a lot of our unions, I know SEIU is doing calls as well. With that, I just wanted to thank all of our speakers. I know Lieutenant Governor Hashmi, Attorney General Jones had to leave. Wanted to also thank Chair Ward for being such a champion. I did want to just open it up to questions from press, only press today.